Good job. You did your thing. We are blessed with a cat today. Hello. Say hi to Tiger. This is Tiger. You know Tiger if you've seen the channel. I want to do my intro, but he's not letting me stop petting him. What's up, guys? My name is Moo. I'm a college student who loves reading, and I'm here to share that love with all of you. So is Tiger. The second I moved the chair that I use to film, he decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna come up and I'm going to join the party. So we'll see how long he's here. It's a good thing that this cat came and decided to join us, because this book is pretty disappointing. So at least we have a kitty as consolation, huh, Tiger? So once again, we are on the trajectory of books that I bought years ago when I had not well defined my taste. And this is just one of those that fits into that category. This is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. See, I said the name out loud and he left. He knows it's a bad book too. This is just a boring book. I wonder if it's because this book was written in the 90s and everything just wasn't so optimized back then, and there was no, artificial intelligence algorithm that ended up helping figure out what worked best and all that kind of stuff. But this book just, it disappointed me. It was boring and it didn't make sense in a lot of ways, and most of the time they just walked. It's like Lord of the Rings but worse. The thing that is unfortunate too is a lot of things at the end were very well tied up, like all the loose ends and little drops of info around the book ended up making sense, and it was really cool. You can tell that the author had a passion for the story she was telling. I just don't think that it worked, and I think that it just wasn't the best book, but we will get into that. So let us start with the summary. I can steal anything. After Jen's bragging lands him in the king's prison, the chances of escape look slim. Then the king's scholar, the magus, needs the thief's skills for a seemingly impossible task, to steal a hidden treasure from another land. To the magus, Jen is just a tool, but Jen is a trickster and a survivor with a plan of his own. See, that sounds interesting, That is a pretty compelling title. And again, it is just like not really my genre, so I'm not sure why I added it back when I was in like high school or whatever. I'm telling you, I'm really trying to get through my unread books. But it just didn't end up being very exciting for me. I honestly am probably in the minority though, because it says on the back cover, as well as this little emblem here, that it is the winner of the Newbery Honor Book, the ALA Notable Book, and the ALA Best Book for Young Adults. So obviously it is a book that people liked. I just didn't. I also think, honestly, probably like elementary schoolers would like this book a lot more than I would, but it's also a little like dark and grungy, so like I just don't know. Maybe I'm just too old. That might be it. Maybe I'm just too old for this book. Don't look at the warrior cats back there. Maybe I'm just too old for this. But yes, so as the summary says, this book follows Jen as he goes on this journey to find this magical stone that is in folklore. It's not even known to really exist, and pick it up. So like I said, it's really just a book about walking, and not in like the long walk really cool way. They just walk and walk and walk, and nothing really interesting happens on the journey. They just walk and walk and walk. My favorite part of this book actually though is the mythology element. There are very small parts of the book that are written as like how one would tell a mythology story, and I really liked that. I really liked the mythology that was created for this story, but I just think that in a lot of ways it was just boring and not a ton happened, and I kind of felt like I wasted my time reading this book. So there was definitely one thing about this book that was so absurd to me that I felt like I needed to make a video. There are books that I read that I just feel have so little worth talking about that I'm just not going to make a video on it. And this video is probably going to be really short because it follows the same. But one thing that I was struck with that just seemed very weird to me was Gen. It's Gen is short for, and let me say this very clearly so that YouTube doesn't flag me. Gen is short for eugenides. And that just sounds a little too close to another word for comfort for me, you know? I just couldn't get past the fact that it stood for that, and he was named after the god of thieves. So maybe it's just a root from Greek or Latin that I sorely have a gap in knowledge about, but that just, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that sounds a little too familiar to another word that I know. But I tried to get past it, and that's just all I wanted to say about that. That's just, I felt like I needed to share that on the internet because I wanted to know if I was crazy or not, but it is what it is. So throughout the story, there's little hints dropped in the story, but not to the point where you would guess what happens at the end. This is gonna be a completely spoiler heavy video because there is nothing worth talking about unless I spoil it all, and I really don't think that anybody is going to be reading this book. So I will just talk to you about it. So they steal this pendant sort of thing. It's a stone from a different country and are going to bring it back to the country that Jen was imprisoned in and was supposedly a citizen of. However, they get caught by the guards of that country and they have to escape the prison of that country and go across another nation to get to their home country. Thing is, the country in the middle, I believe it's called Etides, is the one they have to go through, and they get caught by the guards there. And it is then that it was revealed that Jen, I'm not going to say his whole name because again it just sounds too close to a different word, that Jen is what is known as the Queen's Thief. And I don't understand what that title means because it was not explained in the book, but apparently he comes from a long line of Queen's Thieves and King's Thieves, and that's just a role in the court of the Etides government. So they find that out, and the people he's traveling with, the Magus, and another guy who is actually next in line to become the king of the original nation, and all of that, they're like, whoa, that's crazy, da-da-da-da. And throughout the entire thing, there were little bits and pieces that were put down that were like, okay, it makes sense that this is the conclusion, and now that you tell me this is the conclusion, I think that dropping those hints was smart, but it just kind of led nowhere, and the hints that were dropped, though interesting, and you could tell that they led to the conclusion that it ended up being, it just was not very good. For example, they say stuff to Jen like, oh, you talk so different, your slang is so lower class, it's almost like you're talking like an Etidan or whatever the kingdom people are. And that didn't strike me as, oh, maybe there's something we don't know. It struck me as they've been talking the same the whole time. There is no overly distinct difference between the way Jen speaks and the way everyone else speaks. They all have similar speech patterns. They all just talk the same, you know? There is very good ways to distinguish how a noble speaks and someone from a lower class speaks. I didn't get that at all. So when I was reading and I got to page 110 where that was brought up, I had to pause and go, they don't speak different at all. So what are we doing here? So that was the one that ground my gears the most. But there was also a lot of little small hints dropped in that led to a conclusion that I couldn't have guessed. But it felt satisfying when it was all brought together. So at least there was that. But my thing is, maybe it would have been a good book if it was executed better. But it just wasn't. And maybe I'm just being too critical for a young adult fiction book. It's young adult. There's literally the extras inside thing that you'll see on young adult books that is like discussion questions for a group, that kind of thing. And like the real world behind Jen's world and like da-da-da-da, a good book is a good book forever. I don't know about that, but why am I so mad? I read this book in like 3 days. It didn't waste my time that much. Maybe even 2 days. I just didn't like this book. I thought it was boring. There was nothing egregious about it. I just thought it was boring. And I really hope that I read more books that are up to my taste soon. Right now, I'm reading the first Warrior series that I have never read before, so I'm really excited about that. But I hope to find more literature that I like, because I just wouldn't call Warrior Cats literature. Fiction, yes. Literature just seems like too high of praise. And even I know my limits, so. I danced around rating this a 2.25 on Storygraph and a 2.75, so I landed at a 2.5. It was fine. It wasn't so egregious that I had to throw this book away and rate it 0 stars, but it just wasn't very good. With that, I will end this video. It wasn't the craziest video you will ever see on my channel, but if you did like it, make sure to like the video. Comment down below a book that was just super boring to you and why. And if you like me and this content, please subscribe. I promise you I got better videos out there. So check some of those out because I love this channel. I love making videos and I am here for you every other Thursday. So without further ado, this has been Moo. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.